All right, what's going on? How you guys doing? How are you guys? Welcome back to the video. So I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram story, if you guys follow me, but the Supra has finally decided to go night-night, and unfortunately, as you guys can tell by the title, the turbo has took a shit on us. So I started noticing when I would warm up the car, when it was fully warm, it would start smoking out the tailpipe through the back. And first I thought it was some of the old E85, since during the summer I don't really drive this car because there's no HVAC in it, AC or heat. But after a little bit I started realizing the smoke is not due to the E85, it's has to be somewhere else. So I started digging more, doing some more research on this, and I found out that our turbo seal, I believe in the back, is blown. Now I came to this conclusion because down here, if you guys look, it's a little bit oily, and then as well on the T4 flange, I'm not sure if it's visible or not, there's a good amount of oil right there on the T4 flange. So that being said, number one thing I think about when I see that is a seal going bad on the turbo. So more than likely the rear seal went out on the turbo, and it's causing the oil to not be able to stay in there, and it's going into the exhaust system or on the header for it to cause it to smoke. And for that option, obviously turbo is pretty much done. You have two options when you're in this situation: either rebuild your turbo if you know someone who can do it professionally, or you replace the turbo. Now in my case, I'm going through the process of building the shop right now. Can't really drop a few $1,000s on new turbo, new manifold, all the stuff that I want to do. That being said, we're going to rebuild the turbo. Hopefully my homie Ruben at SoCal Porting is going to hook me up and rebuild this turbo for me. But first, before we get to any of that stuff, we got to start taking this off. First thing we're probably going to do in this situation is we're going to go ahead, we got our downpipe bungee strapped, and we're going to go ahead and remove this clamp to take the downpipe off. Then we're gonna have to go ahead and take off these 4 bolts that are around. I think I can get to them, so I could just remove the turbo as a unit, but if not, I'll have to take the front compressor with the cartridge out and then take the housing off. But yeah, let's get to doing this, and then when we have it off, we'll inspect and see what was the failure point. All right, so we took the downpipe off. First bad sign, look at all that oil buildup. I run my finger right there, that's all oil, not good. And then when you look in the turbo, oh my, look at all that oil. No wonder it was smoking. This thing is shot. You guys can see it dripped on the wastegate too. What a bummer. Clean up all this mess and still continue taking the turbo off. Very easy, just these 4 bolts all around. Gotta take the oil feed line off, oil return line off, and then we should be able to just pull the thing right up. All right, so now that the turbo is out, we clearly saw there was a lot of fluids in the downpipe oil wise. Not a lot, but more than normal. I went ahead while I was in here. I hated my old crusty heat sleeve that I had on the oil feed line, so we went ahead and did the nice Trigga spec orange heat sleeves for it. And now we can inspect our turbo. So we have our turbo on the little cart, and yeah, as you guys can see right there by the blade, I wish you guys could smell this, but it does not smell good. It smells like burnt oil, but there's obviously big signs of oil coming and seeping through here and being burnt. I took the return and the feed off so we can inspect it. Not really much to see, but you guys can see all that leakage right there from the oil. So this thing's probably been going out for a while now, and it just finally now gave out, which is good. I would have hated to be driving and then this thing gives out. That would have been a nightmare. But the turbine seems to spin fine. No issues in the turbine spinning both ways. The up and down play is very minimal, that's okay. And there is no left and right play, so I think it's just a quick rebuild with the seal and we'll be good to go. But yeah, now we're gonna put this in our box, and then we'll catch up when we go to Ruben at SoCal Porting to drop it off and see what he says about it, and hopefully he can rebuild it for me. Alrighty, so we went ahead and changed the oil on the Supra. It's very crucial when you do a turbo change to change your oil, just because if anything from the old turbo got into the oiling system, you want to change it. So we changed the oil, and we changed the filter on the Supra, refilled it back up. That's good. We always use the VR1 Valvoline 2050, very good oil, especially if you're running 85. But now that we got everything on the car and the fluids are good, now we can go ahead and start installing our new turbo. So I reached out to CX Racing because we have their manifold on the car. I thought we had their turbo, but I guess not, but they want to help me out. This is the turbo that we needed, the T70, which is the same one we had on the car. So it comes with hardware for the oil feed and drain, and then this is the turbo itself. So this is a T70 70AR for the front side, and then a 0.81 for the turbine side. This is very nice. It was only $350 too. And like I said, the turbo we had on this car was just another Chinese turbo, just like this, and worked for 5 years, 30 PSI all day long. So I don't see why there would be an issue with running another one of these. But now that we have this turbo over here, we're gonna go ahead and flip it, and then we're gonna want to take the turbine side off. So you're gonna grab it, like that, take it out. So this is our turbine side, this is our hot side housing. Turbo looks good. Measure the blade, it was the same size. So now we can go ahead and start installing this. Now the installation of the hot side is pretty straightforward. You're gonna want to take all your tape off. I'm gonna clean this area up since there was some oil from the past, and then we're gonna throw the housing on. And just like that, we got our hot side in. Check that out, all the bolts have been marked tight. Doesn't need to be crazy tight, but yep, that's that. So now we can attach our downpipe, and then as well as start putting the core in. And then I also got some new hardware for the install, some 8.8 stainless steel, make it easy. But yep, now we got what you call the super core, and we're gonna loosen these up so we can go ahead and figure out the clock rotation of this. And then I also need to drill into this too to put our boost solenoid barb fitting for it that goes to the boost controller. So all right, so we threw the super core in, and now this is loose, so we can clock our oiling. Pinning this, no noise, no weird noises. And there's our little boost fitting that we just drilled out. And how to do that, I'll just use one of these Diablo blades right here. Pretty much go to the third hole, this right here, and you're good to go. Anyways, use this with the drill to make the hole, and then you just thread in by hand your boost fitting. So everything is mounted up now, and it's good. Now we can go ahead and throw the oil feed and oil return fitting on, and get this baby going. All right guys, so I want to address something right before this clip in this video. So originally I had installed this oil fitting, which I showed you guys in the video. This is from the old turbo. I thought this was the restrictor on it. The hole is pretty small, but the back hole is very huge. Unfortunately, I was wrong. I make mistakes sometimes. So this is a real restrictor. You guys can see 4 AM feed, but look at the exit. It is a pinhole rather to this is gigantic, and this is... So the reason I found this out was too, I ran this fitting on the turbo, which you guys will see, and nothing happens. Everything is fine. It works perfectly fine. But what happens is when the car is fully warmed up over time, there is so much oil going into the turbo that it's not able to drain fast enough, even though we have a huge dash 10 drain. And when I called CX Racing, they told me you do need a restrictor for this turbo. So I ordered their restrictor, which showed up. Also got some new V-band clamps as well for the exhaust. But when I throw this on, just wanted to tell you guys, if you do run a turbo like this, make sure you get a restrictor, because this guy will run too much oil in your turbo. And the reason I found out, the car was smoking. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you. So we have our oil feed, which was the one we used before with the restrictor on it. Right there, this. And then we have our oil return right here. These are the gaskets that came with the kit. And then we got some new hardware as well for the oil feed, oil return. This did come with hardware, but I might use this. Alright, so in this step you're going to take a little bit of RTV, gray, whatever color you use. Just a very small layer, nothing crazy on here. Very small little layer on here as well. Literally put it on your finger and just rub it out. And then you're going to take the gasket, put it on, and install the piece. Alright, we're gonna interrupt today's video from our sponsor, Lockethor. So Locathor is a jump starter for your car, very compact, very easy. This is a must-have in every vehicle. I always recommend these, but they sent me this to do some testing on, so check it out. We'll open it up. You got the unit itself, very compact and small, very nice. Inside the box we have our information, charging cable, and our jumper. So let's test it out. All right, so just like that, it's hooked up to the cables. Turn it on, nice. It has this nice flashlight feature too, very nice. We got the Z here, I haven't turned it on in a while, it's dead. You guys see how slow the noise is very, very low. Well, anyways, we're gonna throw this on. All right, so just like that, we got it hooked up. Now we can go ahead and start the car. Very nice. Very, very nice. It's crazy how little this is and how well it works. Anyways, if you guys want a jump starter for your car so you could turn on your car and have no issues, Locathor got you covered. Just check it out. I'll have a link in my description with a coupon code. Go get yourself one if you guys are interested. So just like that, we got our downpipe on. Make sure it's nice and flush with the turbo inlet so we have no leak. Everything looks good. Clearancing looks good. Back to normal way it was. Now everything's pretty much good. Last step before you go ahead and turn on the car, you're gonna wanna remove your fuel pump relay or disconnect your injectors. And then you wanna crank the car a few times. Get some of the old oil that might have been stuck in this line out and use a water bottle. You're gonna wanna get a water bottle, your oil feed line, and put this into the inlet of this water bottle and just hit the car a few times so the old oil from that line goes into the water bottle. Then connect your line to the actual inlet of the turbo, then do the same thing again a few times so the turbo is primed. Then you can go ahead and connect your fuel pump and begin your first startup. So our little contraption we built, now we're gonna start cranking. All right, so we disconnected the fuel injectors, pulled the oil, pumped the car a few times. Look at all that dirty oil. But now everything looks clean. Now we can go ahead and install the oil feed line and then actually turn on the car. All right, now you're gonna let the car warm up and check for leaks. And just like that, we're pretty much finished with this install. So we let the car fully warm up and then simulating some drive time. Just give it a little throttle, hold it at the same RPM for 30 seconds, raise it a little. Yes, you know, you don't need to break in turbos really, but just safe practice. That's what I did. But everything looks good, turbo looks good. No leaks whatsoever. When you do install a new turbo, sometimes you will experience smoke from this area, and that's the oil that the turbo came with from packaging that's smoking. Don't worry about it, it will be fine. Checked everything, but yep, car is good to go. I'm gonna let this thing cool down now, and then I'm gonna do another startup as well just to check everything. And today's way too damn hot here. This car has no AC or nothing, so I can't really go for a drive, but sometime this week I will go for a drive and I'll try to get that added to this video for you guys. But very simple, straightforward, easy install, nothing crazy. This only took me maybe 4 or 5 hours to do. Obviously it turned nighttime, so I had to continue the next day. Super stoked. So CX Racing Turbo for the win. Very nice, very nice.